Hey guys, Denny here with Floatfish Adventure. Burning question of the day, catfish rattles. Does color matter? First off, let me say I'm a believer in the rattles. I use them all the time. The question is, is it just the rattle that's really the important thing, or does the color make a difference? So I'm going to give you my take on the rattles and my no BS opinion on the colors, okay? First off, the primary function of the rattle really is to act as an attractor. It's to get attention. The rattle is that guy standing by the street holding the big sign pointing to the store or the place to eat. That's the rattle. When it comes to drifting cut bait, I see the rattle helping in two basic scenarios. First off, where you have a fish that has not picked up the scent trail of your bait, may hear the rattle, have his curiosity sparked, move a little closer to investigate, and then by moving closer, picks up on the scent trail. Now there's this sound that he was curious about, and now there's this new scent trail that he's honed onto in the process of checking out the sound. And these things combined should hopefully then begin to generate his natural predator reaction to go in and target in and try and see if there's something there that he can eat. The other scenario would be where a fish has picked up on a scent trail and is trying to pin down the source, and the rattle is simply going to help that fish track the source of the scent so we can get to it more quickly. If you want to think about it like you've got a bloodhound who's tracking a rabbit and he knows it's in this area because he can smell it. Well, if that rabbit's under a bush and he hears that rabbit shaking around in the bush, that's going to be where he puts his attention. And as he moves closer, if the sound and the scent trail is getting stronger, then he's going to become more committed as he gets closer to it. Same exact principle. I also like to use the rattles with live bait when I'm flathead fishing, and I think that's a little different situation. In that instance, I don't think the color has anything to do with it. The question is the color, right? Does the color matter? I mean, that's what the video is about here. So my honest opinion is that it's probably not so important to get the color right as it is important not to get the color wrong. Let me explain what I mean by that. I don't think that a fish that's tracking the scent of some cut bait is going to move in and think, red, I'm in. But I do think that it's possible sometimes for a fish that's interested, that's tracking something, to see something that seems out of the ordinary or unexpected, and then they get turned off. And what we don't want to do is turn off a fish that is interested in our bait. So that's why I think it's important not to get the color wrong. And with that in mind, I'll just go over quickly sort of where I see the colors and how I use them. If I'm fishing someplace where there's shad, and shad is the main forage, chrome. You can never go wrong with chrome. If a fish is moving in on something it smells and it's tracking, it gets closer and it sees a little shiny, that's just food. That's what food looks like. So I don't think you can go wrong with chrome, especially if there's some light getting in the water. Now, if I'm fishing someplace where there aren't shad and the main forage is like sunfish, then I'm more likely to use, an orange, red, or a green because these are sort of the natural sunfish colors. And especially if I'm dragging, I'm typically using a peg float, and frequently what I'll do is I'll use green peg float. That's bluegill, right? That's a bluegill right there. So I like these basic sort of sunfish colors if I'm dragging bait someplace where there are no shad. After like a rain, when there's been a bunch of runoff and it's more dingy or murky, if I'm not fishing too deep, I'll use the chartreuse yellow just because I've had really good luck using that. For whatever reason, chartreuse seems to be a color that fish don't get turned off by very often, and it stands out. I also like it at nighttime. If there's a little moonlight and the water's got some clarity, these kind of glow in the moonlight, and I do like that. Then finally there's black. Black is honestly one of my go-to colors. If I'm fishing deep where the light's not really penetrating, or if I'm fishing really murky water, just black. Black just creates some bulk, it creates some shadow. They're going to be relying more or less just on the sound in that instance anyway, and just to give it some shadowy presence, that's going to help. These brighter colors in really dirty water or where there's no light, there's nothing to reflect. They're not going to see this color. The best you can do is maybe have your color contrast something, and you might get some contrast, but in my opinion, black. I also like to use black in clear water. You know, if I've got clear water where there's not much silt and I'm dragging over some rock or some hard bottom, I don't want my rig to look like a clown car. It doesn't need to get that much attention. It's going to be easily seen. It's going to be heard with the rattle. The bait is just going to be visible because there's not going to be any muck or anything. In that case, I want everything to be sort of subdued, and black is my go-to in that situation. If I had to trim it down, you could probably get away, in my opinion, with chrome and black. I think chrome and black would probably cover all of your situations and work just fine. I don't think there's any situation where a fish that's tracking a bait is going to move in and see chrome or black and turn off in any way. I think a fish that's ready to commit is going to stay committed, and these two would probably get the job done for all your needs. You know, I like to have the availability of the other colors, like I said, just because I have certain situations. I have a couple places I like to fish that definitely they feed on bluegill, and I like to have the bluegill colors. I just think it rounds out my toolkit. But if I had to go down to two, it'd be these two. So that's my take based on my reasoning, however flawed it may be, and based on my experience. What I am curious about is what other people use. Do you have one color that you like, that you use all the time in all sorts of different situations? Do you have a color rattle that you like to use because it seems like it outperforms the other colors in your areas or on certain bodies of water? Do you have a reason for the colors you use? I'm curious about that. So if you use rattles and you care about the colors, or you use specific colors for specific reasons, put something down in the comments and share that with the other people. I think it would be really interesting to see, you know, to get some feedback from everybody who uses rattles, if they care about the color of rattle they use, or if they only really care about the fact that they have the rattle on. Let's get some info from everybody, and I think it would be really interesting to see if we can see any patterns or any colors that jump out as like the colors that work best for the most people. So if you're currently not using any rattles, I absolutely encourage you to pick some up. I guarantee that using some rattles will spark more curiosity. It will spark more curiosity for more fish. It will end up getting you more bites in the long run. Not every day. There are some days where they don't want rattles, for whatever reason they're looking for something more subdued, but by and large, the rattles over time will get you more bites. I'm fully convinced of that. If you don't know what color to start with, pick one of these two. Pick one of these two, and you'll be well on your way. Otherwise, just pick a color that you think is going to fit in to the presentation that you're trying to make to the fish you're fishing for. Right? Pretty simple. Hopefully this gives you a little something to think about, and I look forward to reading all your comments about your choice of rattle color down in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Until next time, paddle up. Let's go looking for a fight.